Let's see. Good morning, Lisa. Thanks so much. We've got both Lisas in, Lisa Crockett and Lisa Spurko. Lisa, thanks for messaging me this morning and letting me know that I had set this wrong. I had set it for PM and not AM, which I am prone to occasionally do. I know that's happened a few times in the past, but yeah, I'm glad you caught that. I did sort of want to get some folks in here live this morning just to see if I can get a little feedback on some of the things I'm going to go over in the news and updates that I have to sort of share about TLDC. We'll see if we get folks in. I know that I haven't been promoting my Crowdcast episodes as much on social media lately, and it's sort of been a little test for me to see how much traction I really get in that way. But we do have a few people that are registered for this one. We'll see if you know my setting it wrong, if that kind of screwed things up, but we'll see what happens. But Kara's here again, Lisa Crockett, Michelle Shea, Lisa Spurko, thanks so much. So let me get started. I did kind of make a little bit of a presentation to kind of go over what I'm talking about. As you may or may not know, what was it, a week ago Friday when we did AIDC 21? Let me know if you guys can see that presentation, by the way, or just those slides. AIDC 21 was kind of unexpected in how the audience size and how busy it got, and honestly, it's been over a week and I'm still kind of digging through responding to emails and messages, and they're just coming in, and that's great. I love it. The thing is it really kind of hit me hard. Like, I started to really reconsider pretty much every aspect of what I do. Thanks, Michelle, for mentioning that. But every aspect of how TLDC is kind of constructed. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that and some of the things that I'm doing and how I'm going to shift things a little bit with how I produce stuff. So if you guys can see that, let me go ahead and sort of talk about how over the last year and a half, especially since the pandemic began, really for TLDC, I've been in kind of a just adjusting on the fly, right? Because TLDC, when I first started this with a couple partners back in 2016, it was really kind of about eventually being able to put together live conferences and doing sort of like smaller events, and the virtual piece was still kind of, at that time, was TBD. We sort of had played around with the idea but weren't quite sure where to go with it. But especially since everything with the pandemic, I've just had to adjust all the time, just watching and sort of making making plans based on what was going on in the world, especially the pandemic. And it has been constant change, but I think that in some ways I'm almost kind of working backwards and rebuilding what we have here because of AIDC 21, and learning as much as I did about accessibility and inclusion. And that's just a piece of what I'm going to talk about today, but I did want to sort of discuss that a little bit. I kind of step back, and these are kind of the core values that I'm trying to instill into what I do. And these are just personal things and things that I've always tried to carry with me with when it comes to considering TLDC. And there are things that I've learned. I've been in this space doing this kind of thing for a long time, for over 15 years. Oh, thanks, Kara. And this is the stuff that's kind of important to me, and these three items were pretty much what I go back to whenever I feel a little lost and not quite sure where I'm going with TLDC. Because honestly, for the most part, I feel like I have massive imposter syndrome when I'm dealing with handling this community, and and I often question what I'm doing and why I'm doing certain things. But these are some of the things I go back to when I consider what I want how I want to guide things with this community. The big thing for me is really trust and integrity, is making sure that the decisions that I make surrounding this community are things that will that people will know that I'm not going to take your information and sell it to anybody. I mean, I hate to say it, but I can't believe how I get emails from people all the time, from just spammers wanting to sell me lists from other L&D organizations. Like, hey, do you want this list from, this big organization, and this other big organization? I have 8,000 names I can sell you. And that's terrible. And of course, people make money off of that, but I would, that's not something I would ever do. And I don't think L&D a focus enough where people will really crack down on that type of thing. But I want people to come here and understand that you can trust being here, that I'm not going to like leverage your information for monetary gain, just without your permission. That's not really something I'm into. Um, yeah. And so Kara's saying, I make my middle name the conference, and it's bananas how many daily emails I get. Yeah, it's crazy. And I also want to make sure that I build a space that's safe. Like, if I ever see activity that I think is negative, I'll call it out. And it has happened. It has happened where we've had folks that are out there. We're all different. Everyone has a variety of approaches to how they look at the world. But when there are people that show up, that I feel like are either for like ego reasons or whatever, want to demand more attention than others, and will put people down, or bullying anyway, we put a stop to it. So I really try to make sure that the spaces are safe for everybody. And the other thing which I try to carry is just to share as much value as I can, as much value as possible. Just try to make sure that the things that I'm actually taking in, that I'm trying to share them. And I do it in a way that I know how to do it. I'm not somebody that can post a bunch of stuff in social media and share that way. That just isn't my thing. So it's really through this community, and I try to stay focused on this, the way that I can do it, versus try to do it the way that I feel like every other people do it. This is just my way. And I try to be generous and highlight the greatness of others, because I do feel like I am in I experience that a lot. Just the greatness of other people. Every single member showcase, every guest that we have on, is just, for me, it's incredible how talented everyone is, and how willing and generous they are. And I like to be able to showcase that, because it's important to me. And then the other thing that I have is just connecting people to one another. I feel like, since I've been in this space doing what I've been doing, that has always been um, really, really important to me, is being able to introduce people to one another. And I think that's also just a part of my personality. And then if there are activities where I see people kind of that create division within the space, I just basically turn away from it. It's not something that I can spend any of my resources on, or generate any attention to, because I run so lean anyway. So I really just try to connect people to one another. If I see activities that aren't in along that line, then I kind of just move on to the next thing. So these are three of my core values. I'm sure that there's more if I had more time to sit down and think about it, but this is basically it. These are the ones that stood out when I did my brainstorming the other night. And so I'm going to move on to kind of, with that, with those core values in mind, I want to talk about how AIDC 21 kind of really just, I mean, I slept all weekend after that event. And I actually had, a lot of you guys know, I got guitars in the back. I'm in a rock and roll band, that the Saturday after the event, I had a really nice club show that I played, and totally nailed it. I kicked butt that night. I was all over the place. I think some of it was because of the event. I had so much, crazy energy, and I was totally exhausted. But you know, after the show, I had people coming up to me, talking to me, telling me, like, oh, great, just strangers. But in the back of my head, I'm like, "Oh, man, this is cool, but does anyone know, like," the cool thing was we had a big event yesterday, and there were over 1,000 people that showed up, and I was actually more proud of that than my than playing live in front of a bunch of people. That's how much AIDC 21 had me, but it was because it really, that event, I think I've seen the power of putting on a great virtual event, but I'd never really, I don't think any of them have ever impacted me the way this one did, because I kind of reassessed my whole foundation of how I look at stuff. So um, these are some of the things that I have put together that I'm planning on doing, or I'm in the process of doing, and I'm, it's actually been really, really tough this last week trying to navigate through all this. I haven't been able to even get through all my messaging and emails. But the first thing is, I here we are in Crowdcast. I don't know if I can stick with this platform. We've been here since 2017, but I need something that can do captions. And so I'm reassessing this. I contacted them and asked them about um, being able to be more inclusive and the accessibility of the platform, and they don't have a plan. They're just like, well, we have a new release coming up, but I can't tell you exactly what that's about, and if there are going to be any features that will help you. And I just, it wasn't a great answer. So reassessing this platform, maybe migrating away from Crowdcast. It seems like we've been here for a long time. We've got over 700 plus videos that are in the archive in this platform. Not sure if it's gonna continue to work for us, and I'm not getting any good answers about it. So I might message again to see if I can get something more specific, but not feeling great about it. I'm also started changing how content is posted, so that it's more accessible and inclusive. And that is actually a huge project. Um, it ends up becoming, my workflow has changed so that I have to accommodate probably another like 30 minutes per episode to be able to accommodate that. And there are things that I've done, like I got a license to Otter finally, and so I'm slowly starting to grab those transcripts, which need to be edited, and then I am putting them on the website as I post videos. So that's one thing. I also bought a license to a new video platform called Adillo, which I believe is out of South Africa, and they're really, really nice, interesting platform. Unfortunately, and it has a way of generating transcripts as for each video, but the video platform itself isn't really compatible with Webflow, which is the platform for the website, and we're trying to work on that together. I really like the platform, but I'm making a commitment to seeing if I could find a better solution for that. Oh, and thanks, Lisa. Lisa saying, if you need help in any way, Luis, I'm happy to help with transcripts or whatever. Thanks, Lisa. I appreciate that. And so Adillo is one solution I'm looking at. If you guys want to, I should put links to all this stuff. I'm finding some of it on AppSumo and in different places, but Adillo is an interesting one, and the licensing is nice. But we'll see whether or not it's going to work. The other one is there's an app or a program called Spoke.app, which generates transcripts. That one is really interesting. It's from France. Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Kara. But Spoke.app, you should check it out. It's a really, really cool one. It's still kind of beta-ish, but so far I've been kind of loving the ability to clip things from that. It if they can just make some improvements on the interface, I think it'll be something that I'll use on a regular basis. But check that out, Spoke.app. That's a nice one. So, I'm building new processes. I'm trying to like innovate, create, test new systems. That's something that I'm that I like doing and that I think I'm pretty good at, but it takes so much time. But I'm doing that right now. So um, you'll see a lot of those changes happening. And one of the things that I'm committing to as well is I want to document this stuff so that other people can do it. And over the last couple of years, I've sort of been seeing other communities show up that 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 are kind of coming up similar to the way that TLDC came up. And I want to be able to be a model for some of those other communities, or for just for anybody to say, okay, these guys were able to come up with more accessible and inclusive content, doing it this way. And so I want to be able to share what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, so that anybody else that is building conferences or building communities out there can like just duplicate what I'm doing, so that everybody can be included. I don't want to, just learn all this stuff and hold it to myself. I think that it's important that everybody be able to understand how to do this stuff. So that is what AIDC 21 did to me. And I'm having to kind of navigate like how I'm dealing with archive things, and but still make it so that I understand how, as we move forward, how it all is going to scale. There's a lot to consider. So if you messaged me and you haven't gotten anything back, it's probably because I've been head down trying to do this stuff. And then my work at O'Reilly, the last couple weeks have been crazy busy, so haven't had a ton of time to do TLDC stuff, but working on it. Okay. And so here's some other things. Oh, thanks, Kara, for posting Spoke on there too. Other things I'm doing, I'm going to be updating the website. I'm going to make it more useful. I sort of just had everything put together there, and it's just grouped how it's been grouped since I built that, what, in 2019 maybe. So it's been a couple of years. I mean, there's some things that are dynamic, but most of it is static. I need to update it. Could use some help with that if anybody has any ideas. I want to keep stuff grouped. There is so much content. We have so many incredible conversations available for people to get into, and you can't really find it on the website. And so I got to fix that. So that's one of the things. And I also want to build more events. I'm going to continue to use AirMeet. I'm talking to some of their developers and even their founder or their CEO, that he's interested in making sure that it's as accessible and inclusive as possible. But that remains to be seen. I think that there's going to be a cost associated with that, and and that's, totally get it. I'm going through the same stuff. It just costs money to be able to do these, to make it better. And so, but I'm going to stick with it just because the platform, I don't have that many complaints about it. It just has been working for me. And, if something new pops up that is better, I'll jump on that. But right now, AirMeet is good, and I'd like to build more events. It's just being able to find the time to generate the resources to come up with something of quality. Um, I'm also planning on reaching out more to the vendor community. I'm going to find some sponsors and advertisers, so I am able to fund more improvements to what I'm doing. Uh, and I also think that they're kind of a missing piece in what this community is about. I just, when I was at the guild, I loved talking to vendors. I probably learned more from those guys than anybody else. Um, I don't know. I have a lot of friends in that space, and it wasn't always, I to be honest, when I had first started there, the vendor community was really sort of frowned upon because of how much marketing and sales and stuff that they do. I mean, that's what they do. And there are some people that just are can be out of control with that stuff. Um, but then there are other people that are absolutely just, they're there because they're passionate. They love instructional design so much they built a tool, and they want to be able to share that tool with people, and they have to sell it, and those people are amazing. I mean, gosh, nobody's coming to there are names that I'm sure that I can, if I sit down and think about it long enough, that I can come up with. But there are really, really some great people out there, and I would love to be able to introduce the community to them, just to give people more of a variety of tools that they can go to. And then I'm going to work on getting more discussion generated in Slack. Honestly, for me, I am not somebody that is good at reaching out and starting discussions. Like I can't I just don't do it that much on social media, and I'm not great at it in Slack. It's just not my thing. So, but I'm trying to work on that. And yeah, if anybody wants to, feel free to get in there and Slack and do it. I love the fact that these, when the conversations exist, I am totally excited about it. I wish I was better at it, but I just don't have the time to really I think that I'm an introvert enough that whenever I do that, it does feel like like I have to take a break after I start a conversation on Slack. That's how bad it is for me. But I am going to try to make it more active and find strategies to keep that place a destination that is worth going to. Um, let's see. And let's see. Yeah, Kara is saying that she thinks of Duncan Welder at risk. Yeah, he is such a cool guy. Uh, yeah, incredible. And there are so many. I mean, who did I have? I had Suddenly Smart. I had Rob Penn on a while ago, and Rob has been around forever. It doesn't feel like he gets enough like attention, but Rob was on and and showed off like the software that he built. I had him on, I think it was a couple of years ago. And gosh, there are so many of them. I can think of their faces right now. There's a guy, Chris Ayers, and his company. Love that guy. There's just so many of them that I used to hang out with, and who have really, they're just big hearted and wonderful people. So vendor community, I'm definitely going to start reaching out and hopefully generate some revenue that way, help them, um, make some money, as well as help support what TLDC is trying to do. All right. So how you can help. If you're not already, join as a member, please. Like that just helps, just being able to keep the lights on and all that stuff. We did have a little bit of a member bump after AIDC 21, which is so great. So thank you for everybody that did join then. So yeah, consider that if you're not already. And then also you can donate on that AIDC 21 page. I did create a donate PayPal sort of link. I'm not a big fan of PayPal, but you can donate. And I'm going to say right now, Nick Floro from Sealworks, he donated a really like a good, like he donated. So I mean, if you guys can support Nick, please do, because he is such an incredible guy. I mean, even the first TLDC conference, he bought like one of the premium sponsorships to help out. And what a guy. Really helps. I mean, honestly, if funding for Otter and some of these other things that I've had to pick up, that's basically going to be kind of Nick. And then let's see, Toddy also donated a good amount, Toddy Norum. So you guys, if you can, just, and you have any time, feel free to do that. I'm using it all just to find new processes and see if I can get new systems going to make this community a better place for everybody. I have a day job, so I know that I fund most of TLDC myself, but all this other stuff really helps. And it was my wife that told me that I needed to get donations, so there's that. If you guys are interested in hosting a broadcast on TLDC, that really helps too. I know, Lisa, you are interested in doing that series. If you guys, as soon as you want to do that, I would love it. And really, my dream is to actually have a platform where it lets a variety of people just host broadcasts, and I would post them. They would just function, as curated items, and people can share them. That's really sort of my dream, is to have a community where everyone is kind of sharing knowledge with one another, and yeah, doing it that way. So if you want, anybody, if you're interested in hosting a broadcast, let me know. We can talk about it, see what you've got. There's some that I've already got a few like that are kind of brewing out there. Would love to have as many as possible. And then other than that, help build some of these virtual events, not just the virtual either. Next year, I am hoping to put together a live event. I'm probably going to be doing a call to see if there are folks that want to help me build the program. Because although I know how to do it, I am definitely not somebody that is even an instructional designer or anything like that. I know who the people are, and I usually just ask questions. Um, so especially like right now with the virtual events, I could use some help. I'm trying to figure out what the next community day is going to be about. I have like 3 or 4 things on my list that I'd like to build the next community day on, but it's kind of changed after AIDC 21. So, um, you know, if you have any feedback at all, let me know. Let's see. And oh, Craig, you said East Coast. Are you talking about an event on the East Coast? I would love to. Um, if that's possible at some point. And so, you guys, if you want to reach out to me, just email me. I put my phone number on there, but I forgot to. Well, actually, I probably shouldn't put my phone number on there. But yeah, I would love it if you guys just keep in contact with me. I mean, most of you know me. I am just by myself in this crazy room. I mean, it's just like this is it. This is my little office. I'm just in here all the time, and a lot of times I feel completely lost about like what am I supposed to do with this whole with what TLDC is, and especially the last year and a half, because so much change and just had to make so many adjustments. But I am so glad that it is evolving the way that it is, and I feel like as long as I stick to those 3 things, where I make sure that people can come in and that this is a place you can trust on this place, being a safe and a safe place, and that we value integrity here, and that we're just trying to be generous and highlight the greatness of others, and our agenda is completely transparent, that people will come back. All right, and I'm going to turn off my screen share here so I see that there's one question in there. Craig, it smells a song being written about that struggle. Yeah. All right, so Kara's asking, how long did it take for you to do the new TLDC website and Webflow? Looking into using it for my portfolio. Didn't take long. I had to do 2 things. One, I needed to sit through a lot of Webflow videos, which wasn't that bad. They're actually really, really entertaining. They're worth checking out. Webflow University, and they're all free. They are kind of like little sitcom-y videos. But learn Webflow. I probably in total spent no more than 2 hours sitting through Webflow videos, and learn Webflow. And it's great. I love the platform. I don't want to go to anything else ever. I love using Webflow now, the no code thing. I mean, I know HTML really, really well and CSS, but I would rather just stick with Webflow. It's all you really need. It does cost money, it's like $20 a month, but if you want something solid, it's worth it. So I did do that. I did hire somebody that I found off of Upwork. I can't remember his name. He was a really, really, really cool kid, um, from India, and we just chatted. He actually has an Instagram where he's a singer, but he helped me a little bit with Webflow, helped me with the databases, and helped me figure out how the relationships on the databases work. So it might be worth spending a couple $100 with somebody to kind of guide you a little bit on Webflow and get you started. Oh, and I use the template in Webflow. It's called the TLLY template. If you go to Webflow and search for that template, you'll find it. It costs $79. I ended up buying 2 copies of it, to use, one for TLDC, and then one right when the pandemic started. I started building a website that was focused on all the businesses that were open in my little town. I built, me and my wife and my son just drove around to different businesses and collected their hours and stuff, and did videos of all the businesses and posted them to show people, like, you can go here, this ice cream place is open from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. that's we just wanted to show people that there were businesses open, and mostly just we wanted to feel like we were doing something. But yeah, and it was a good exercise for me to learn Webflow. So I would jump into it if you can, Kara. I don't think Webflow is going anywhere. In fact, the whole no code thing is I think the future of the web. So so can if you want to get into it, and I'm happy to show you personally like the way some of it works. And I am still learning of all kinds. And WordPress, yeah, totally, Kara. And WordPress is good, but it's just like, oh man, you got to find your web host, you got to find, you're constantly updating plugins. There's just like too much to it, really, when it comes down to it. I think about like Devlin Peck, and he uses Webflow as well. um you know um I think, yeah. I mean, me using Webflow completely independent from Devlin. I just did Webflow on my own, but um, there are only certain things that you need on a website, and you don't need to have like all these other plugins and stuff that that WordPress or WordPress template builders might recommend you have. It actually seems to be like too much. Like, just to make a simple website here, Webflow just has great tools for it. And it's similar to Squarespace, but I think Webflow is more powerful. Yeah, WordPress is nothing except updating plugins. And then I was getting out, people were hacking, trying to get into the old TLDC website all the time. And well, I got hacked once, which was terrible. It was like horrible experience. So Webflow's great, $20 a month. That's the way that it works. And um I don't know, the traffic that I experience is so much that I have to increase the account anytime soon, so it works good for me. Let's see. So that is kind of what my presentation is. That covers all of it. And what I'm hoping for is that when it comes to building events and just overall with the community, I would love it if there were other people that help guide it too. Um, as you guys know, when I started out, it was me and Brent doing this, and Brent was kind of the spokesperson. He was the guy up front, and I did everything behind the scenes. And that's because I'm good. I've always been good at doing stuff behind the scenes, and I'm just more comfortable behind the scenes, building processes and systems. So I don't mind at all if there are other people that are interested in helping and doing this stuff. In fact, I'm pretty uncomfortable in front of the camera, but this is where I'm at. And so I'm talking to you now. So if anybody else is interested in just taking time and doing this stuff, I'd love it. If you want to build some experience, um, doing virtual broadcasts, this is an opportunity to do it. I think I'm going to always want to, do this every once in a while, but it's not my thing, my primary. I'm more, I really have always loved being behind the scenes and being a little more strategic and, 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 and focused on systems. Um, Thanks, you guys. I really appreciate it. Lisa's saying you're doing great, Louise. Wouldn't know you're uncomfortable at all. It's taking time. And that's the other thing, too. I mean, I would love to share this to anybody. When I started out, I was so uncomfortable, but then you kind of get used to it and you get better at it. I mean, Kara, when you started out, you were just being really, really authentic, but now you are kind of a master at this stuff. Whenever I see you on camera, I'm like, wow, she is just amazing at this. Yeah, and thanks, Lisa, about being authentic. It's when it comes nowadays, there isn't any time to do otherwise. I sort of came up in a variety of business disciplines where authenticity wasn't really the priority, and with this, I feel like I need to be honest about the vulnerability that I feel, and it's just, you know I want it to be something that remains like upfront, just sort of the way that I'm managing stuff. There was a time where that definitely wasn't the way that I would do things that I would create, like we used to say, smoke and mirrors to make it look like, I'm working in a high-rise office or something somewhere and not in a little shack in my backyard. So but I actually like that I'm in a little shack in my backyard with all my guitars behind me. Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. Thanks, Kara. You have been really incredibly important to TLDC. I really, thanks for that comment. And yes, Lisa, recovering HR professional. Yeah, my last stint working for a big organization, I worked for a credit union, and that was definitely the feel, was like you wanted to to kind of show everybody that you were like the big fish in that space, and that's not really what I'm interested in. I'm really focused on people and just generating more impact, getting people to get better at what they do. um this world, I'm just constantly stressed about the future of this planet and the world that my son has to live in. So really, I'm focused on trying to do good. Okay. So I think that's it. If you guys have any other questions, anything, Craig, thanks for joining us today. And um I'm going to get this one up. I knew that it was going to be kind of more of a podcasty thing. I wanted folks to be able to listen in and just get a little bit of news about what I'm up to. But that is really it. Is I'm from the ground up, I'm having to adjust how I'm doing things at TLDC to accommodate more people, and we'll just go from there. But more events, if you guys have any ideas at all, let me know. uh how do you top AIDC 21? I'm not sure. That it was really just got me. So that's it. Thanks, everyone. So we got Monique St. Paul on Thursday. I'm really looking forward to talking to her. Such an interesting person. Show up for that member showcase. Other than that, we're gonna keep on going, and hopefully I'll be announcing what the next community day is about soon, and I'll probably post on Slack a call for folks to kind of discuss it, because I need some help trying to decide what topic to go with. All right. So thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next time.